Welcome to Airborne on staugustine.com and 88.5 FM. We have a special guest, as always, in the studio with us. This is the special blues edition of Airborne with Matt Jeffs. We have the proprietor of the St. Augustine Blues Company, Morgan Green. Morgan, how are you today?
I'm doing real good. How y'all?
Well, you know, I feel pretty cool right now. I've got my shades on, and you got your shades on. This is it's a different perspective on Airborne.
Well, you know, in sunny St. Augustine, you got to always be prepared. So carry your shades everywhere you go, so you're ready.
You're exactly right. Now, you are the proprietor, as I described, to the St. Augustine Blues Company, which is the parent organization, if I can use that term, for the St. Augustine Blues Festival.
Yeah, that's how it all came about. We had an idea. Me and Tony O's, my partner, guitar player, and he had a gig, and we decided we would try to get a festival going. And
that was about 3-4 years ago?
This would be our 4th year. It was in 06 when we started out. And then, you know, you got to have a company or something, a home base. You can have a festival, but who's behind it?
Right.
So I started the St. Augustine Blues Company.
Right.
And the thing I try to drive home is that we're serious about our blues. It's not just, there's, you can say I'm a big fan too. But
right.
Serious about putting it out there.
Now, you have helped put these festivals together. They're held at clubs. Give us a little bit of an idea of the genesis of the festivals, how they began and grew.
Well, we started in A1AL Works in a club downtown.
Right.
And we always tried to keep it inside the club because that's really the place where blues is best listened to, is in a club environment.
Right.
And also I try to bring it really close to people, so people who love and people who may have never even experienced the blues can come and see the blues. And you know, it's right there. You can talk to the people. It's not like when you go to a big stadium and you don't get a chance to talk to the person that you're there to see. With blues, you guys like Willie Big Eye Smith, Bob Strozier, we've had in the past. People love it. They intermix. They mingle with them. They talk to them. And these are guys that are the royalty of blues that come from Chicago, like Zorro Young, which we're bringing in on Valentine's Day.
This Valentine's Day.
That's coming up real soon.
It is. You mentioned experiencing the blues. Could you give our viewers who, they hear about blues and they think of sad music, and it's not sad music. Can you give us a background of it, a little history lesson?
Plus, if you don't go out and buy blues albums, or if you go to a club and experience blues in the live, really most of what you're getting is going to be mainstream radio.
Right.
And they play some good stuff. B.B. King, they'll play what's really popular, but to really experience it is to experience it live.
Right.
The neat thing about blues is every time you add a different piece, an instrument, a piano player, a harmonica player, whatever, it changes the band every time. Mm-hmm. That's why you never hear blues guys. Most of your real blues guys it'll be B.B. King, Buddy Guy. They go by their name because the band is always different.
Right.
They have different bass players.
Right.
I got a gig in Chicago and I need a bass player.
Right.
So there's guys out there that play the traditional blues. Unless you're in B.B. King's band and you're booked year-round, most guys that play blues are out trying to get work wherever they can.
Hustling it wherever they can. It's actually a chronicle of the African American experience over the past century, that the blues started. We can talk about Delta blues, and then the Great Migration north to Chicago, and how
looking
the
for
music
work.
evolved.
They were looking for work, and they were looking for a change. They were looking for a work. They wanted to go to a place. At blues, it started very early on, and it was a way to communicate. It was a way to escape the drudgeries of life, in which we all understand. I think ever since Martin Scorsese came out with the history of the blues, and it aired on PBS, a lot of people out there now have a better understanding of what blues is.
Yeah.
But it's still evolving. It's still migrating.
to all corners of the earth,
all over. And you know, St. Augustine being one of the oldest city in the United States, I'm sure there was a lot of blues here. There, at one time there was 12, when I understand, 12 different jazz clubs in Lincolnville alone.
Wow. So the St. Augustine Blues Company is putting on the 4th annual Blues Festival. Tell us about this exciting weekend coming up and what all's involved.
Well, it's going to be very special. We're going to kick it off. That's going to be February 12th, 13th, and 14th. On the 12th, it's a Thursday night. We have Little Mike and the Original Tornadoes. Now, this is a band that had a reunion after 20 years last year and really had a good time. And it was Little Mike, Tony O, Brad Vickers, and Rob Piazza. So what we wanted to do this time is have another reunion, but I said, let's get some recording done because they don't get together that often. These guys started out together over 20 years. They used to come through St. Augustine quite a bit. In fact, several of them live in our area, and they make this home, and you know, that's part of the reason why they came here, because they came through and played and fell in love with it like a lot of us have.
And you have a special act with Zorro Young, is that her name? Tell us about Zorro Young.
Zorro Young is a true Chicago blues diva, and she's been touring the world for 30 years. I talked to her on the phone. She goes out about 3 times a year, and she'll be making her Florida debut right here in St. Augustine.
Wow.
And she's really thrilled. We've treated her to 4 days in St. Augustine, and on Valentine's Day she's going to come out and put on a great show for everybody. We're going to have a great lineup of a lot of musicians. We have, in fact, we were talking about B.B. King. We have a gentleman named Calvin Newborn. Calvin Newborn recorded with B.B. King back in the early days.
Wow.
And he's going to be there. And we got just a lot of piano. Bob, this guy plays a New Orleans style piano that's really out of this world.
Might be called stride piano, I've heard before, or barrel house piano. Some of the terms that are, yeah, great stuff. Oh my gosh. And now this will be happening the weekend, Valentine's
Day weekend. We're doing a special fundraiser for St. Francis House on the 14th. And what it is, we'll open the gate up at noon, and people can come in, and we'll start music shortly thereafter, and we'll run till about 6 o'clock, and then we're going to go inside, and all the musicians that play in the festival, they kind of mix it up for about 4 hours inside.
For a jam.
For a big jam session.
Wow. And this is going to raise some money for St. Francis House. It's a very nominal fee you guys are asking, too. You can share with us. Just
a $5 donation at the door. Parking's free. All nights, the Thursday and the Friday night show are free.
Wow.
So if you want to come, I get contacts from all over, people coming and want to spend a weekend here and see the blues.
Excellent. Morgan Green, thank you so much for bringing this culturally important music to the city of St. Augustine.
Well, thanks for all the support from all the community, from all the sponsors that I have, and thanks to everybody. And come help us give a big warm welcome to Miss Zorro Young when she comes from Chicago.
It sounds like a date, I'll tell you. Valentine's evening, what a great date for everybody.
It's going to be phenomenal. Dinner, and come out. We're going to have CDs, signed posters. There'll be things there that people can take home with them to remember what we're doing.
Sounds great. Thank you, Morgan. Really appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you.
My pleasure. You've been Airborne with Matt Jeffs on 88.5 FM and StAugustine.com. We bring you interesting people from your world so you can stay dialed into your community and the folks who make it tick. See you next time, everybody.
Thank you so much.